राम 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 सर्वेभ्यः नमो नमः सुप्रभातम्। गुरुरेव गतिर्गुरुमेव भजे गुरुनैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे न गुरोः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोः मतिरस्ति गुरौ मम पाहि गुरो। गुरूणां प्रार्थनां कृत्वा तेषाम् अनुग्रहं प्राप्य अद्यतनकक्षां प्रारम्भं कुर्मः। सर्वेभ्यः पुनः कक्षार्थं हार्दं स्वागतं व्याहरामि. We shall start with the recitation of the Stotras. Kindly raise your hands so that I can call out your name and you can recite the shlokas. The first shloka, Amita Bhargava Bhagini.
Ram Ram.
Ram Ram Ram.
Vagishadya Sumanasaha Sarvarthanamopokrame Yannatva Kritakrityasya Tannamami Gajananam.
उत्तमं सम्यक् उक्तं. केवलं तत्र द्वितीयपङ्क्तौ सर्वार्थानाम् इति सम्यक् न उक्तं. सर्वार्थानाम् उपक्रमे इति भवितव्यम्.
सर्वार्थानामुपक्रमे
अस्तु, धन्यवादाः. We'll go to the next shloka. Prakash Mohini Bhagini.
नमो नमः.
Namaste.
दोर्भिर्युक्ता चतुर्भिः स्फटिकमणिमयी मक्षमालान् दधाना हस्तेनेकेन पद्मं सितमपि च शुकं पुस्तकं चापरेण भासा कुन्देन्दुशङ्खस्फटिकमणिनिभा भासामाना समाना सा मे वाग्देवतेयं निवसतु वदने सर्वदा सुप्रसन्ना.
Uttamam, dhanyawadaha. Few improvisation points and corrections. Maybe due to the regional influence, the letters were not fully told. Some of the letters were not fully pronounced, maybe because of Hindi or the regional influence. So I will recite this. Kindly pay attention, and others also please repeat in your own pace while I do it. Dorbhiryukta chaturbhihi स्फटिकमणिमयी मक्षमालान् दधाना हस्ते नैकेन पद्मं सितमपि च शुकं पुस्तकं चापरेण भासा कुन्देन्दुशङ्खस्फटिकमणिनिभा भासमाना समाना सा मे वाग्देवतेयं निवसतु वदने सर्वदा सुप्रसन्ना. We'll go to the next shloka. Anisha Mahodaya or Bhagini, please, can you please recite the next one?
शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभाङ्गं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगिभिर्ध्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णुं भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथम्.
Uttamam, Uttamaritya Uktam Vartate, Dhanyavadaha. We'll go to the next shloka. Parvati Bhagini.
Namaste Mahodaya.
Namaste.
आद्यायामित तेजसे श्रुतिपदैः वेद्याय साध्यायते विद्यानन्दमयात्मने त्रिजगतः संरक्षणोद्योगिने ध्येयायाखिल योगिभिः सुरगणैः गेयाय मायाविने सम्यक् ताण्डव संभ्रमाय जटिने सेयं नतिः शम्भवे.
Uttamam, very well recited. Dhanyavadaha. Only one point to improvise is Seyam Natihi. When we tell it together, the Anuswara, whatever is there, will change to Nakara. Seyannatishambhave. So that will be the only minor improvisation on the uchcharan aspect, otherwise well recited. Dhanyawadaha. अधुना श्लोकार्थं प्रति साक्षात् गच्छामः। गतकक्षायाम् अस्माभिः तथा प्रथमश्लोकस्य विषये एवमेव पदच्छेद अन्वय पदपदार्थ भावार्थ सोपानक्रमेण विशेषरूपेण तत्र विशिष्य दृष्टं वर्तते प्रथमश्लोकं। वागीशाद्याः इति श्लोकस्य अर्थावगमः गतकक्षायाम् अस्माभिः कृतः। We had done in a detailed manner the artha of the shloka in these steps, basically from the padacheda, anvaya, and so on, for the first shloka in the previous class. In today's class, we will be doing it for the remaining shlokas, and now you would be knowing what are the ways how to do the padacheda, anvaya in a little bit better way. So we will be doing it in today's class in this manner. अस्तु, अत्र पश्यामः चेत् द्वितीयश्लोकः दोर्भिर्युक्ता चतुर्भिः स्फटिकमणिमयीं कथं भवति अत्र पदच्छेदः इति इदानीं पश्यामः। अत्र दत्तं वर्तते यथापि, परं पुनः तत्र दर्शयिष्यामि। दोर्भिः युक्ता, अत्र विसर्गसन्धिः वर्तते। दोर्भिः युक्ता दोर्भिर्युक्ता इति भवति। चतुर्भिः स्फटिकमणिमयीं, अत्र गुणिताक्षरमेव, स्फटिकमणिमयीम् अक्षमालां दधाना हस्तेन एकेन, अत्र सन्धिः वर्तते, वृद्धिसन्धिः, हस्तेनैकेन पद्मं सितम्, अत्रापि सितम् अपि गुणिताक्षरमेव, शुकं पुस्तकं चापरेण च अपरेण इति पदच्छेदः भवति। भासा कुन्देन्दु शङ्ख स्फटिक मणि निभा इति एतानि पदानि सन्ति अस्मिन् समस्तपदे. This is a compound word and it has the constituent words as kundendu, kunda indu. Kundendu, there also there is a sandhi which is basically guna sandhi. Kunda indu shankha sphatika mani nibha bhasamana asamana. That's how the split will be. Evam tatra savarna dirgha sandhi vartate atra. Sa me वाग्देवता इयम्, अत्रापि गुणसन्धिः। सा मे वाग्देवता इयं, सा वाग्देवतेयं निवसतु वदने सर्वदा सुप्रसन्ना इति पदच्छेदः भवति। अत्र अधः पूर्णरूपेण तत्र पदच्छेदः दर्शितः वर्तते, परं तथापि अस्माभिः तत्र कथं श्लोके एव दृष्ट्वा तत्र पदच्छेदं कर्तुं शक्यते इति इदानीम् अहं दर्शितवान् अस्मि अत्र। इदानीम् अग्रे सरामः। अस्तु, कथम् अन्वयः कथं कर्तुं शक्यते अत्र इति इदानीं पश्यामः। अत्र अस्मिन् श्लोके क्रियापदं किम् अस्ति इति यदि वयं पश्यामः, सर्वत्र वयं पश्यामश्चेदपि तत्र अन्तिमवाक्ये एव क्रियापदं भवति। निवसतु इति, निवसतु इति क्रियापदमस्ति। नि उपसर्गसहित वस् धातुः निवसतु, लोट् लकार प्रथमपुरुष एकवचनं भवति निवसतु। इदानीं प्रश्नं कुर्मः, कः अथवा का निवसतु इति प्रश्ने कृते उत्तरं भवति सा वाग्देवता निवसतु इति उत्तरं भवति। सा वाग्देवता, अत्र सा वाग्देवता निवसतु इति उत्तरं प्राप्तुं शक्यते। इदानीं पुनः यदा वयं प्रश्नं कुर्मः, अस्तु सा वाग्देवता कुत्र निवसतु, निवासः इत्युक्ते टु स्टे, कुत्रचित् भवतु इत्यर्थः। इदानीं कुत्र, कस्मिन् क्षेत्रे कस्मिन् स्थले भवतु इति प्रश्नः भवति। कुत्र निवसतु इति प्रश्ने कृते अत्र उपस्थितानां पदानां दर्शनेन किं भवति, सप्तमी विभक्त्यन्तं पदं किमस्ति इति अस्माभिः प्रष्टव्यं। सप्तमी विभक्तौ वदने इत्यस्ति, अन्यत्र कुत्रापि सप्तमी विभक्तिः नास्ति, केवलम् अत्र वदने इत्यस्ति। अतः सा वाग्देवता वदने निवसतु, वदने निवसतु इति वाक्यम् आगच्छति। इदानीं वदने इत्यस्ति, सामान्यरूपेण पुनः अन्यः प्रश्नः भवति, कस्य वदने निवसतु, इन् हूस् मौत् शुड शी रिसैड इति प्रश्नः भवति। तदर्थं षष्ठी विभक्त्यन्तं पदं किमपि अस्ति वा अस्मिन् वाक्ये, अस्मिन् श्लोके इति दृष्टे सति अत्र मे इति शब्दः वर्तते। मे इत्यनेन मम मे इति भवति। अस्मत् शब्दस्य षष्ठी विभक्तौ रूपद्वयं विद्यते, मम मे इति। मे वदने इति अत्र अन्वयः भवति। मे वदने इति तत्र अन्वयः एवं भवति। अतः सा वाग्देवता मे वदने निवसतु इति सरलं वाक्यं प्रथमम् अस्माभिः कर्तुं शक्यते। इदानीं पुनः इतोपि प्रश्नान् पृच्छामः। कथं सा निवसतु? अस्तु, सा वाग्देवता मे वदने निवसतु। कथं सा निवसतु? हौ शुड शी स्टे देयर, हौ शुड शी बी देयर इति प्रश्ने कृते, सा वाग्देवता, सा इयं वाग्देवता, इयम् इति तत्र सर्वनामशब्दः एव, सा इयं वाग्देवता मे वदने सुप्रसन्ना निवसतु इति अग्रिमं पदम् अस्माभिः योजयितुं शक्यते। सुप्रसन्ना भवतु। पुनः इतोपि एकं प्रश्नं कर्तुं शक्यते, कदा निवसतु इति। तदर्थम् उत्तरं भवति सर्वदा सुप्रसन्ना निवसतु इति। यदि इदानीं वयम् अन्वये अन्तिमवाक्यम्, अन्तिमपदं पश्यामः, वाक्यं पश्यामः, किं भवति? सा इयं वाग्देवता मे वदने सर्वदा सुप्रसन्ना निवसतु इति आगतम्। इदानीं पुनः प्रश्नं कुर्मः, सा इयं वाग्देवता इत्यस्ति, तर्हि सा इति अनेन कीदृशी वर्तते एषा वाग्देवता? इयं वाग्देवता कथं वर्तते, कीदृशी अस्ति तस्याः स्वरूपः इति प्रश्ने कृते तदा उत्तरं भवति, ओहो एवमस्ति, दोर्भिर्युक्ता चतुर्भिः दोर्भिः युक्ता वर्तते। सा पुनः कीदृशी वाग्देवता इत्युक्ते, सा स्फटिकमणिमयीम् अक्षमालां दधाना वर्तते। पुनः तस्याः दोः इत्यनेन बाहुः इत्यर्थः। The shoulder is called dos or dorbhihi, chaturbihi, so she has 4 hands. Tarhi स्वरूपे कथम् अस्ति सा इति पुनः वयं प्रश्नं कुर्मः चेत्, सा एवमस्ति, एकेन हस्तेन पद्मं, कीदृशं पद्मं? सितं पद्मं सा दधाना वर्तते। अपि च अन्यस्मिन् करे शुकं सा स्थापयति, अन्यस्मिन् करे अपरेण पुस्तकं स्थापयति। अपि च तस्याः कान्तिः, मुखस्य कान्तिः कथं वर्तते इति प्रश्ने कृते, कुन्द इन्दु शङ्ख स्फटिकमणि निभा। निभा इत्यनेन सदृशम् इत्यर्थः। निभा मीन्स् सिमिलर् टु, इक्वल् टु और लाइक। तर्हि कुन्द इत्यनेन मल्लिका पुष्पवत् तादृश श्वेतयुक्तं वर्तते। इन्दुः इत्यनेन चन्द्रः। एवं शङ्ख, वयं सर्वे जानीमः शङ्खः। अनन्तरं स्फटिकमणि, the white beads that we use for the japa, that is the स्फटिकमणि। एवं तादृश भासा एषा प्रकाशमाना वर्तते। तादृश भासा भासमाना वर्तते एषा। असमाना वर्तते सा। असमाना नाम अद्वितीया, शी इज सेकेंड टू नन। अतः वयं यदि इदानीम् अन्वयं कुर्मः, एतानि सर्वाणि अपि पदानि संयुज्य कुर्मः चेत् एवं भविष्यति। अन्वयः अत्र दर्शितः वर्तते। चतुर्भिः दोर्भिः युक्ता स्फटिकमणिमयीम् अक्षमालाम् एकेन हस्तेन सितं पद्मम् अपि च अपरेण शुकं पुस्तकं च दधाना कुन्देन्दु शङ्खस्फटिकमणिनिभा भासमाना सा तादृशी वाग्देवता सा असमाना असमाना इत्यनेन अद्वितीया इयं वाग्देवता मे वदने सर्वदा सुप्रसन्ना निवसतु इति तत्र अन्वयः भवति। अन्वयक्रमे कुत्रचित् तत्र पदानां पुनः क्रमस्य व्यत्ययः भवितुम् अर्हति। उदाहरणार्थं भासमाना असमाना सा इत्यपि वक्तुं शक्यते, अथवा भासमाना सा इयम् असमाना वाग्देवता इत्यपि तत्र क्वचित् व्यत्ययः कर्तुं शक्यते, तत्र क्लेशः नास्ति। परम् एवं साधारणरूपेण अस्माभिः अन्वयः क्रियते। Hope everyone is able to now understand how we arrived at this Anvaya by asking meaningful questions starting from the Kriya Pada, like who did it or who is that, where, how, when, ityadi. Etadrisha prashnan kritva, or what kind of ityadi prashnan kritva asmabhi tatra evam Anvaya kramaha praptaha. So we shall now proceed to the next step. After the Padacheda, Anvaya, we have Padapadartha in the Anvaya Krama. Now we will try to understand the meanings of each of these words or pairs of words to arrive at the Bhavartha or the meaning of the Shloka. Chaturbhihi Dorbhihi Yukta iti Prathama Ganaha. Chatussankhyakaihi Bahubhihi Sanyukta. Doho इत्यनेन मया पूर्वमेव उक्तं तत्तु बाहुः इत्यर्थः भवति। अतः चतुस्संख्यकैः, one who is having 4 hands in 4, so चतुस्संख्यकैः बाहुभिः संयुक्ता, having 4 hands or 4 shoulders, either way we can call it. Sphatika-manimayim, Spatika-manibhihi kritam, of the crystal beads, the white crystal beads. Akshamalam, Akshamala ityanena Japamala, Japamanihi ityapि vaktum shakyate. Akshamala, string of beads, which is used for the japa, that is Akshamalam. Ekena hastena, in one hand. Ekena karena, sitam padmam, shvetam kamalam, a white lotus. Apicha aparena, aparena ityanena anya hastena, tatra ahatya चत्वारः हस्ताः सन्ति, तन्मध्ये एकहस्ते सा किं स्थापयति, सा सितं पद्मं स्थापयति। अपरेण अन्यहस्तेन सा पुनः शुकं, शुकं नाम पक्षिविशेषम्, अत्र पैरट इति वक्तुं शक्यते, शुकं स्थापयति। अन्यस्मिन् करे पुस्तकं स्थापयति, ग्रन्थं स्थापयति। दधाना, धरन्ती वर्तते, स्थापयन्ती वर्तते। भासा, कान्त्या, तस्याः प्रकाशः कथमस्ति इति इदानीं द्रष्टुं शक्यते। कान्त्या नाम by her luster. She is equaling to कुन्देन्दु शङ्ख स्फटिक मणिनिभा, मल्लिका पुष्पेण समं, चन्द्रेण समम् अथवा चन्द्रेण सदृशं, शङ्खेन सदृशम् अथवा शङ्ख सदृशं, स्फटिकमणिभिः च सदृशी सा prakashamana vartate. She is shining, resembling to the brightness or the kanti of a jasmine flower or the moon or the conch or the crystal beads. Evam sa vartate. Sa asamana, esha advitiya, who is unparalleled or who is second to none. So she is the only person who is like this. Evam rupena api vaktum shakyate. इयं वाग्देवता, एषा सरस्वती, मे वदने, मम मुखे, मम वदने, सर्वदा, always, सदा, सर्वदा, Santushta Suprasanna, Santushta, let her always be pleased and let her stay. May she reside in a pleased manner in my mouth. Vasam karotu, nivasatu vasam karotu. Evam इदानीं अन्वयक्रमे सर्वेषामपि पदानाम् अर्थः अस्माभिः दृष्टः एतेषां पुनः क्रमेण लेखनेन भावार्थः भविष्यति. Now let us look into the bhavartha of how this would look like. So the bhavartha is given here. चतुष्सङ्ख्यकैः बाहुभिः संयुक्ता स्फटिकमणिनिभि क्षम्यतां स्फटिकमणिभिः निर्मितां जपमालाम् एकेन करेण श्वेतं कमलम् अपरेण च शुकं ग्रन्थं च धरन्ती कान्त्या मल्लिकापुष्प चन्द्र शङ्ख स्फटिकमणिसदृशी प्रकाशमाना अद्वितीया इयं देवी सरस्वती सदा सन्तोषेण मम मुखे वासं करोतु इति एवं भावार्थः अस्माभिः प्राप्तुं शक्यते. Hope everyone has followed up till here how we arrived at the bhavartha. It is nothing but we are writing in sequence all the pratipadarthas that we have obtained in the previous step in the anvayartha after we have done the anvaya. So here we can also add more in the bhavartha. For example, why is she holding Shweta Kamala? Why is she holding a Shuka? Why is she holding a Grantha, etc.? All these things can be again expressed or explained further in the bhavartha based on what is the need. We can expand the bhavartha to even beyond what is exactly directly stated in the shloka also, because this is the bhava, or you are trying to explain what is the ashaya of the poet or the kavi who has written this shloka, for example. So we'll see quickly in English as well the bhavartha. May the goddess Saraswati, who has 4 hands and is holding a string of crystal beads, white lotus, parrot, and a book, and who resembles the jasmine, or the moon, the conch, or the crystal in her luster, and who is lustrous and unparalleled, reside joyfully or happily in my mouth always. Anaya prarthanaya तत्र अस्माभिः किं प्रार्थ्यते इति प्रश्ने कृते what are we actually requesting through this shloka or through this prayer is, let the Vagdevata reside in my mouth always in a joyful manner. So what does that mean? That means to say, let her always bless us with the right words to speak. Words are something that can hurt someone very badly. Vakparushyam tatra khadgapraharaadapi balishtham bhavati. There is also a saying in that way. The words can create an unhealable, or which cannot be healed, a wound that cannot be healed also. Even if you use a sword, probably the wound would heal after some time. But the words that we speak at occasions or at different times and different um, moods, or with something told in anger, etc., can cause a huge damage to other person. And always we should strive to speak something which is really good. Priyavakya pradhanena sarve tushyanti jantavaha. There's another saying, just trying to collate all the related aspects of it. And for all this, to have a beautiful speech, we need to have the blessings of Vagdevata. Even in the Vedas, uh, the rishis actually prayed to the Veda Mata to say, Jihva me madhumattama, let nectar be flowing through my lip, through my tongue. That means to say how much weightage is given to having a good speech. Another aspect, another dimension to it is, let whatever I speak be full of wisdom, full of jnana. So it is not that I have to just speak for something, but whatever I'm speaking should make sense and should be apt at the right time. This is possible only if the Vagdevata prasadaha vartate. And hence, in this shloka, we are going down to such a Vagdevata who is having all these characteristics. If you see any of these also, it can be symbolized to obtain more better understanding. For example, Vagdevata api haste grantham sthapayati. तेन कः तत्र विशेषः किं वर्तते अस्मिन् प्रसङ्गे इति प्रश्ने कृते, even though you have learned, there is something more that you have to keep practicing whatever you have learned. This is what we can draw a line or extend the meaning of it. अपि च पुनः सा शुकं स्थापयति. Shuka means a parrot. So why is she holding a parrot in her hand? So parrot is something which can also listen to the voice and speak. So we can be like the parrots which speaks softly. This is one way to look at the symbols that the Vagdevata is holding in her hand. Evameva pustakam, then shukam, then we also see uh, akshamalam dadhana. So she is always doing the tapas or the japa. So we should be always engrossed in whatever we are doing, etc. In this way, we can actually think of how and how to see any deity's photo and try to symbolize and understand from what all objects they are holding in their hands. And through any of the dhyana shlokas that we may have, like this, Dorbhiryukta, etc., we can understand the meaning out of it in a better way. Evam tatra bhavartha asmabhi drishtah. We'll now go to the Vyakarna Vishesha aspects of it, some of the words trying to understand it better. And then I will open up for question and answers. So I'm just lowering everyone's hands right now. Yeah. So if there are any questions or doubts, you can please ask after I complete the Vyakarna Vishesha. So here, this is the photo or chitram of Vagdevata in the Shringeri tradition, if you can recognize it. And exactly this is how she is holding Shuka, a parrot here, and then Akshamalam Dadhana. Akshamalam Dadhana, we can see it in two ways. One is Haste api Akshamalam Dharati, apicha Kanthepi Akshamalam Dharati. Evam drashtum shakyate. Ekena hastena, aparena hastena pustakam. So here she is holding the pustaka in her hand. And in other hand, you can actually see this in two ways. One, we can call it as the Amrita Kalasha, basically, because that is the pot of nectar. Or also, in a way, you can see that it symbolizes the lotus that is there, which is not a bloomed one, but a lotus that you can also think about. So in this way, we can see the symbolism of Vagdevata. Astu, Agrima व्याकरणविशेषं प्रति गच्छामः. दोर्भिः इति शब्दः वर्तते. सकारान्तः पुल्लिङ्गः दोस् इति शब्दः, तस्य शब्दस्य तृतीया विभक्तिः बहुवचनं. भुजबाहु प्रवेष्टो दोः इति अमरकोशेऽपि उक्तिः वर्तते. भुजः इति अन्यत् पदम् अस्माभिः वक्तुं शक्यते. चतुर्भिः इति अग्रिमं वर्तते. चतुर्भिः रेफान्तः पुल्लिङ्गः नित्य बहुवचनान्तः. It's always a bahuvachana because four in number is always more than 3. It is always a bahuvachana. So tritiya vibhakti. Here again, whenever we talk about the sankhyas, based on the linga, the form will be different until 5. Ekam, eka, ekaha. Napumsakalinge ekam, strilinge eka, pullinge ekaha iti bhavati. Evameva चत्वारि चतस्रः चत्वारः iti the forms for the 4. So here chaturbhihi is in pullinga. if it is actually in Strilinga, if the other word, like similar, instead of dorbhihi, if it was any Strilinga Shabda, the Sankhya Visheshana, or it would have become Chatusribhihi, not Chaturbhihi, Chatusribhihi would have been the form there. So that is just for more information about how this Shabda is. The next is Padmam. Padmam, again here, Padmam is basically Kamalam only. So Amara Pankti is given here. Va Pumsi Padmam Nalinam Aravindam Mahotpalam Sahasrapatram Kamalam Shatapatram Kusheshayam iti Amarakoshe vartate. Then Sitam. Sitam ityanena Shvetam iti asmabhi drushtam. White is the meaning of this word. एतदपि उभावपि तत्र नपुंसकलिङ्गे एव स्तः. नपुंसकलिङ्गः प्रथमाविभक्तिः एकवचनं, पद्मं सितं उभावपि. क्षम्यताम्, अत्र द्वितीयाविभक्तिः भवति, यतोहि शी इस् होल्डिङ्ग् दिस्, that will become the object. शुक्ल शुभ्र शुचि श्वेत विशदश्येत पाण्डराः अवदातः सितो गौरो वलक्षो धवलो अर्जुनः इति अमरे भवति. अग्रे भासा इति शब्दः वर्तते. भास् इति शब्दस्य सकारान्तः शब्दः स्त्रीलिङ्गः, तृतीयविभक्तिः एकवचनं. तत्र तृतीयविभक्तौ एकवचने भवति. भासमाना, अत्र भासदीप्तौ इति धातुः वर्तते. भासते इति रूपं वयं जानीमः. तस्य आत्मनेपदी धातोः शानच् प्रत्ययः. शानच् इत्यनेन प्रेजेंट कंटिन्यूअस, वर्तमानकालः इति उच्यते. द प्रेजेंट कंटिन्यूअस, शी इज कंटिन्यूअसली शाइनिंग, भासमाना वर्तते. Similar to other words, for example, vardhamana, one which is growing. Vartamana, one which is happening now, that is the present continuous, the vartamana, etc. So how to identify the shanach pratyayanta shabdas is, in the shabda you will be able to see mana as the common term. So vandamana means one who is being saluted or prayed, etc. like that. Sa asamana. So here, though mana is there, here in this particular case, it will not be a shanach pratyaya, because it is samana. Samana is a shabda, and one who is not similar, one who is not equal, that is what we will say it as asamana. Na vidyate samanam yasyaha. For one who we cannot compare anything else. So she is unparalleled. That is the meaning of this shabda. Sa asamana. Iyam vagdevata. Vacham devata vagdevata. The god of the speeches is vagdevata. Atra shishti tat purushah bhavati. Vacham devata vagdevata. Astu. Atra aham tatra punaha. I'll open up for the question and answers. If there are any specific questions, please raise your hands. On this particular shloka, Dorbhir Yukta, in the Padacheda, Anvaya, or Padapadartha, Bhavartha, or the Vyakarana Vishesha. Please raise your hands. So I will ask you to unmute and ask your questions. Astu. Vidya Bhagini, you can ask your question.
Yeah, I want to know whether Dadhana also is Shanach.
Dadhana is basically, it is not yeah, it is also a Shanach Pratyaya, because it is also present continuous. She is holding it in that way. Evam bhavati. Samichinam.
Astu.
Agreed. Next question, Nalini Bhagini.
Namaste Mahodaya.
Namaste.
Sankhyaih ityukte atra kim
Sankhyakai. Sankhyakai means Sankhya means number. So in number by 4 basically. Chaturbhihi. Chaturbhihi means so by 4 in the number of 4. That is the meaning here.
Okay. Astu. Dhanyawad.
Astu. Astu. Agrima prashnah. Gopalakrishna Mahodaya, you can ask your question. You can unmute yourself now, Gopalakrishna Mahodaya.
This arrangement of words in Anvaya,
Yes.
still not clear. Means how do you bring that thing into the same to make a meaningful meaning? Yeah, I have doubt even in the previous sloka also, the first one.
Okay.
How do we bring about a meaningful arrangement of words?
Okay. At this point, I want to tell a few things about general instructions about how we come up with the Anvaya. So I had also explained it in the previous classes also. So the foremost thing is, Yadyapi in Samskrita Bhasha, the order of the words doesn't matter to obtain the meaning. Whether you say, for example, here we'll just take this only. Asamana is there. We have seen this sentence. Na vidyate samanam yasyaha sa. So if you say vidyate na samanam yasyaha sa, samanam vidyate na yasyaha sa, in any order you tell the words, the meaning would not change. So essentially, what we are trying to do in the Anvaya Krama is trying to identify the Kriya Pada that is there, and we are trying to put the Kriya Pada towards the end of the sentence. Ask the meaningful questions related to the Kriya Pada, who is doing Karta, then Karma, then other words, auxiliary words that are available. And if there are any Visheshana, Visheshya Bhava combinations that are there, we try to put them all together, and then we basically form that statement or the sentence. So that is called the Anvaya Krama. So if you ask again whether will there be always one Anvaya only for any shloka that we take, probably not. We can still do a bit more reshuffling of the words from whatever we get. That Anvaya will not actually change much. But Anvaya, by the word meaning itself, is trying to put together the words that are related to each other. In the shloka, perhaps, one word which is related, maybe it's there in the first pada, and the next related word could be in the third pada or the second pada or anywhere else. That the Kavi would have put it in that format because to meet the requirements of the chandas and so on. So to understand it in totality or in full, we may have to rearrange those words together so that we can get the meaning in the best way possible. So that exercise is what is the Anvaya that we are doing. So I would request you to again go through the slides after the class for even the first shloka and the rest of the shlokas that we are doing, and try to read through the sentence and the shloka again and again, read the Anvaya Krama. Then you would understand a bit more of how we arrived at that Anvaya. Maybe I will just park my answer at this point. So try doing it. If in case if there are further doubts related to it, I would request you to please email, or maybe we will take it up during our doubt clarification sessions.
Okay.
Sure.
Dhanyawada.
Dhanyawadaha. Janardhan Shastri Mahodaya.
Namaste Mahodaya.
Namaste.
Actually, my question is also related to Anvaya only.
Okay.
Of course, I agree with you that it requires a little bit of practice, because without practice, we cannot understand. But my point is that now, when you said that for Kriya Pada, we have to put questions like Kada, Kutra, Katam. So now, my only little bit doubt is that by putting a question, how we can get an answer and how that answer can relate to the vibhakti.
Understood.
Well, you said in some places you will get the Panchami vibhakti for the question. In some places you said Shashti vibhakti. In some places you said Tritiya vibhakti. Is it possible to spend some time on that so that whenever we do Anvaya, we can put questions to Kriya Pada and understand in a better way? That is only my request.
Avashyam, tat kartum shakyate. I will also.
I found that one word, Bahu Vrihi. I'm not able to understand in Vyakarana.
Astu. I will tell about that as well. Astu.
Yeah,
sure.
You.
No problem. Dhanyawadaha.
Thank
So here, as we see, two things. One is Bahuvrihi. I also explained in the last class. It is the name of the samasa. So there is no other meaning to it. It is the name given to that classification of the samasa. So just to repeat, there are Pradhana Rupena, there are four major classification of the samasas. One is called Tatpurusha Samasa, one is Bahuvrihi Samasa, one is Dvandva, and the last one is called Avyayi Bhava. So this is the major classification of the samasas. Of course, there are furthermore classifications in each of these of what kind of bahurihi, what kind of tatpurusha, and karmadharaya is one kind of tatpurusha, and so on. So let us not worry too much about it for at the moment. So just know bahurihi is the name of the compound, what the classification of which samasa type it is. That is the only thing with respect to bahurihi. Now coming back to the anvaya krama, every vibhakti, if we remember from our prathama and dvitiya classes, every vibhakti has its own meaning. So if we remember the first initial slides, Ramaha Ramo Ramaha, one Rama, two Ramas, many Ramas, Ramam Ramo Raman, two Rama, two Ramas, two many Ramas. So two is the meaning of Dvitiya Vibhakti. So that means I bow to Rama, Aham Ramam Namami. When I say Kam Namami, whom do I bow to? Automatically the answer comes in Dvitiya Vibhakti. So that was the context with which I was saying when we ask this question, kada, for example, it can be pratah kale namami, it can be saptami bhakti, or any other word which is meaning the time. So here sarvada is the direct answer that we have, kada sarvada. Now kutra is another question which expects an answer which is in saptami vibhakti because it is a locative case. So when I say rame ramayoho rameshu, we say in Rama or at Rama or something like that, in at or other words we can use. So that will give the answer in Saptami Bhakti. Kutra, when I ask the question, so here in this Vadane is the Saptami Bhakti word which is referring to it. Same way, Ka, Sa Ka, itukte, who is she? Itukte Sa Vag Devata. Whenever you ask a question Kim or Ka, automatically the answer expected would be probably in the Prathama Vibhakti. So in this way, whenever we do it, we will be able to arrive at the Anvayas. So when we look into the next shloka, we will try to expand a bit more on this and then we will try to learn from that. Hope that at least clarified to a certain extent about how the Anvaya is coming here in this case. Astu, अग्रिमश्लोकं प्रति गच्छामः. शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभाङ्गं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगिभिर्ध्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णुं भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथम्. Astu, so this shloka let us see. Astu. पदच्छेदम् अस्माभिः कर्तुं शक्यते सुलभरूपेण. अत्र सर्वाणि अपि पदानि तत्र भिन्नमेव वर्तन्ते, परं तथापि एकवारं पश्यामः. शान्ताकारं, this is also a compound word which is made up of two words, shanta akara. We will see more in the vyakarana vishesha also related to it. Bhujaga shayanam, again there are two words which is again also a samasa, bhujaga shayanam. Padmanabham, here also there are two words, padma and nabha, padmanabham. Suresham, Suresham, here also there are two words, Sura and Isha, Suresham. But constituent, these are all the compound words. Okay, so these are the words, constituent words of words present in the compound words. That's how I'm actually kind of splitting. It is not the padacheda as such. Okay, and then Vishwadharam, Vishwa Adharam. So that there again there is um, Sanyukta, the samasa, samastapada, gagana sadrusham, gagana sadrusham, again two words, made up of two words, megha varanam, shubhangam, shubha angam, shubhangam, lakshmi kantam, again two words, making it a compound word, kamala nayanam, again here two words, yogi bhihi dhyanagamyam. Here is the only padacheda, mainly because of the sandhi, yogi bhihi dhyanagamyam. Here yogi bhir dhyanagamyam is there, yogi bhihi dhyanagamyam. It is a visarga sandhi. We will be learning in detail about the visarga sandhi in the upcoming classes. So please do not worry at the moment how like what are the rules of the visarga sandhi, etc. Just know that yogi bhihi dhyanagamyam, it becomes yogi bhir dhyanagamyam is a visarga sandhi example. Similarly, vande vishnum bhava bhaya haram, it's made up of three words. It's a compound word. And then sarva lokaikanatham, sarva loka ekanatham, that's how it will be formulated. but this is also a compound word, sarvalokaikanaatham. So this is how the padacheda would actually come up. So okay, Kshamyatam, I will just have to go to the previous slide. I probably took the other slide. Yeah. अस्तु पदच्छेदम् अत्र पश्यामः. शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभाङ्गं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगिभिः ध्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णुं भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथं. This is how the padacheda would come. Now let us go to the next step of the Anvaya, where if I ask, if I follow the steps, first is to identify the Kriyapada. What is a Kriyapada here? Evidently, in this entire shloka, there's only one Kriyapada, which is Vande. Vande is the Kriyapada. So, Vand dhatoho Uttama Purushaha Ekavachanam Vande iti vartate. So, Vande, once you see that Vande, automatically you will understand that if you ask a question, Kaha Vande, अथवा कः एतत् क्रियां करोति, who will bow down, if you ask a question, since one day is in uttama purusha ekavachana, by default or automatically you will say aham vande is the right form that you will get here, aham vande. Now we have the basic statement, aham vande is the basic statement. Now we will ask a question, punaha prashnam kurmaha, aham kam vande, whom do I bow down to? Kam is basically, or is in Dvitiya Vibhakti. The question is also in Dvitiya Vibhakti. Kaha kauke kam kaukan. Right? So when I ask come one day, we'll have to identify any word that is there in Dvitiya Vibhakti. So here it becomes a bit tricky. I'll tell you why. So if you see, all the words in this shloka are all in Dvitiya Vibhakti. So which one do you want to choose first? So you can say aham shanta karam vande. Yes, absolutely fine, no problem. Or if you say aham bhujaga shayanam vande, that also is absolutely right. Any word you choose is the right answer in this case. So of all, which is the word that is actually calling out the name of the deity whom we are bowing down to? Yadi tadasham pashyamaha Vishnum iti asti. The name of the deity or Vishnu is the Bhagavan. Aham Vishnum vande will be the next basic statement. Now you start asking Kidrisham Vishnum, what kind of Vishnu are you bowing down to? If you ask that question, now you will get to answer all the other words which are the Visheshanas for Vishnu. Shantakaram Vishnum Vande, Shantakaram Bhujagashayanam Vishnum Vande, and so on. And that's how you can actually build the chain of words and say, I bow down to Lord Vishnu who is like this, like this, like this, etc. That's how the Anvaya Krama will come. And here, specifically this shloka, Anvaya is very, very easy and very simple. So let's look into it. Shantakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham. Exactly the way in the order of how we have got the shloka, it comes in the same way. Yogibhihi Dhyanagamyam. Only in the last, we have a bit of a change. Bhavabhayaharam Sarvalokaikanatham Vishnum Vande. That is the only change you can see from the shloka to the Anvaya, because all the words are the adjectives, Visheshanas for the word Vishnu. Vishnum, and here in brackets, actually you can specifically also write Aham Vande, because Vande is already the Uttama Purusha Ekavachanam. And so here, that's how it will become Aham Vande. You can actually put it in the bracket because that is not directly there evident from the shloka, but it is implied that Aham Vande. So this is how the Anvaya for this shloka would be. I hope there should be no much doubts related to how we came up with the Anvaya on this shloka, because it is very straightforward. One important thing I wanted to just specify, which is also a Vyakarana Amsha, which we'll also see later a bit, is the Visheshana Visheshya Bhava. Whenever we call anything as a Visheshana, then it always follows the same Vibhakti, Linga, Vibhakti and Vachana of the Visheshya Shabda. Visheshya is the noun, Visheshana is the adjective. There is also a Karika which states this, Yallingam Yad Vachanam Yacha Vibhaktihi Visheshyasya Tallingam Tadvachanam Sacha Vibhaktihi Visheshanasya. We had seen this also in our previous courses. So hope you remember about the Visheshana, how it will be. So since here in this case, Vishnu is the noun, the Visheshya, all the words which are the Visheshanas to Vishnu will also be in the same Vibhakti and same Linga and same Vachana. So Shantakaram, Shantakaraha is the Shabda, Shantakaraha Vishnuhu, Shantakaram Vishnum Aham Namami, Shantakarena Vishnuna idam jagat srashtam, etc. Shantakaraya Vishnave namaha, and so on. So whenever the word Vishnu changes its vibhakti, all the words, the Visheshanas also would change in any sentence. So that is just one more finer detail of how, why all these words are in Dvitiya Bhakti. Okay, now let us see the Anvayartha, Padapadartha of these Shabdas. Shantakaram, Shantaswarupam, athava Saumyakaram, Saumya Akaram, Saumya Swarupam, any of these words we can use. Having a serene form, basically one Akara which is very pleasant, serene or pleasant. Bhujaga Shayanam, Bhujagaha ityukte Sarpaha, Sheshaha, Bhujangaha, Bhujangamaha, etc. So it is Shesha Shayinam. Shayanam Nama, one who is made the bed out of a snake, which is the Adishesha. So Shesha Talpam also we can say. Bhujaga Shayanam, Shesha Talpam, Shesha Shayinam, sleeping on a snake bed. Padmanabham. Padmanabham is one person who is having a Kamala or a lotus from his Nabhi. That is Kamala Nabham. Suresham. Suresham Nama Suranam Ishaha. So he is the Lord of all the gods, Lord of the lords. So Suresham, Suranam Ishaha, Devanam Adhipatim, Devesham. You can also, another word you can say, instead of Suresha, you can say Devesha, Devesham, Bhagavan of all Bhagavans. Vishwadharam, Akhilasya Jagataha Adharabhutam. Vishwasya Adharam ityapi vaktum shakyate. So one who is holding the entire world, the support of the entire world is Vishwadharam. Then we have Gagana Sadrisham, Gaganasya Samanam. Gaganam Nama Akashaha, Akasha Samanam, vast like the sky. So two ways we can see here, again vast like the sky, because Gagana Sadrisham, the Akasha is an all-pervading system, and Vishnu is also the word, meaning of the word Vishnu itself is Vyapta. That is one who is all-pervading. That is what is Bhagavan Vishnu. Meghavarnam, Meghasya Varnam iva, Jaladaha iva Shyamalam, having a dark color, dark complexion, like a cloud. That is what is Meghavarnam. Shubhangam, Mangala Avayava Yuktam. Shubha Angam, one who is having auspicious form or auspicious body. Lakshmi Kantam, Lakshmyaha Kantam, one who is the husband of Lakshmi, which is Shripatim, Shripatihi, Shripatim. Kamala Nayanam, Rajiva Lochanam, one who is having eyes like lotus. Padma Nayanam, Kamala Nayanam, or Padma Netram, Kamala Netram, Rajiva Netram, any of the words you can use for the Anvayartha. Then we have Yogi Bhihi, Yoga Nishtaihi, by the yogins, by the yogis, Yogi Bhihi, Tritiya Vibhakti Shabda. So Yogin is the Shabda, Nakarantaha Pullingaha Yogin Shabdaha. Yogi, Yoginau, Yoginaha will be the forms, of which the Tritiya Vibhakti is Yogi Bhihi, Yoga Nishtaihi. Then Dhyanagamyam. Dhyanagamyam, Dhyanena Praptum Shakyam. One who can be attained through contemplation or meditation. Dhyanena Gamyam. One who can be obtained, or one who can be perceived through the dhyana is Dhyanagamyam. Bhava Bhayaharam. Bhava ityanena samsaraha iti swikartum shakyate. Samsarasya bhayam yad vartate tad bhava bhayaha tasya uddharaha yah karoti. Haranam, tasya haranam. Bhava bhayasya haranam yah karoti saha bhava bhaya haraha. Tam bhavabhayaharam Vishnum aham namami. So samsara sagara nimajjana bhaya nivarakam is the explanation that has been given as the padapadartha, one who can remove all the fears of this mortal world. And then sarvalokaikanaatham, sarva ityanena samastasya akhilasya iti or kritsnasya ityapi vaktum shakyate. Kritsnasyapi jagatah. Kritsnam means complete or in full, in totality. Any other word, akhila, nikhila, also can be used in this case. Sarvalokaikanaatham kritsnasyapi jagataha adhipatim. He is the Ekanatha. Ekanatha means one master, one ruler. The only ruler of the entire world is Sarvalokaikanaatham Vishnum Tadrisha Sarvavyapinam Narayanam. Vishnu, in the Vishnu Sahasranama, also the first Nama of Bhagavan is Vishnu. So Vishnu itself means all pervading. So Sarvavyapinam Narayanam Vande Aham Namami. The omnipresent Bhagavan Narayana, I bow down to omnipresent Bhagavan Narayana. So this is how we can come up with the pratipadartha for every word that we have seen in this particular shloka. Now we will go to the bhavartha of how we can stitch together these words that we have obtained through the pratipadartha and see it. So it is just giving each meaning of the same words that in the same order of the Anvaya Krama. Saumyakaram Sheshashayinam Kamalanabham Devanam Adhipatim Akhilasya Jagataha Adharabhutam Akasha Samanam Jaladaiva Shyamalam Mangalavayavam Shripatim Rajiva Lochanam Yoganishtaihi Dhyanena Praptum Shakyam Yogibhirdhyanagamyam Praptum Shakyam Samsara Sagara Nimajjana Bhaya Nivarakam. So this is one word. Kshamyatam for the typo. It is one word. Or we can also say Samsara Sagara Nimajjana Bhayam Nivarayatiti. But Bhaya Nivarakam is one word. I will correct it after the class. Kritsnasyapi Jagataha Adhipatim Sarvavyapinam Narayanam Aham Namami. Aham Vande Aham Namami. So this is how the bhavartha of this shloka can be understood. So in short, in English, if you want to see the bhavartha, I bow down to that omnipresent Bhagavan Narayana, who has a serene form, a pleasant form, who is asleep on a bed of snake, Sheshatalpa, who has a lotus in his navel, Kamalanabha, who is the Bhagavan of gods, Suresha, who is the support of this entire world, Vishwadhara, then who is vast like the sky, Gagana Sadrusham, one who is black or dark like the cloud, Meghavarnam, who possesses auspicious limbs or organs or body. So that will be the Shubhangam, who is the husband of goddess Lakshmi, Lakshmi Kantam or Shripatim, Kamalanayanam, one who is having the eyes like lotus or whose eyes resemble a lotus, who is attained by the yogins through meditation, Yogibhir Dhyanagamyam, who is the remover of all the fears of the world. So, who removes the fear of the mortal world is Bhavabhayaharam, and who is the master of the entire universe, Sarvalokaikanaatham. So, I bow down to such a Bhagavan Vishnu. So, this is how we can come up with the Bhavartha for this particular shloka, which is a very famous shloka, which is the Dhyana shloka for the Vishnu Sahasranama, and in some Paddhatis also a Dhyana shloka for the Bhagavad Gita. I hope we are all clear with respect to the Anvaya, Padapadartha and the Bhavartha of this shloka. We will now see the Vyakarana Visheshamshaha here. Shantakaram, Shantaha Akaraha Yasya Saha. So again here it is a Bahuvrihi Samasa. The compound is called Bahuvrihi. I was mentioning about the four major classification of the Samasas. Tatpurusha, Bahuvrihi, Dvandva and Avyayi Bhava. The major difference in this classification, how to identify which samasa it could be, relies in the fact that where is the artha relying on, or where is the artha present. If we say Shantakaraha, it is made up of two words. One is Shanta, one more is Akara. If we add any Kriya Pada, for example, to understand which word is prominent of these two, whether Shanta is prominent or Akara is prominent, if we just ask a question like that, we know if you say Shantakaraha Gachati, if you say Shantakaraha Gachati, we'll just take a moment to understand this concept. Along with the Gamana Kriya, Gachati Kriya, we will not be able to associate Shanta. Shantaha Gachati, we cannot say, or Akara Gachati, we cannot say. But Shantakaraha means we are actually referring to a person who is having a serene form, or who is having a pleasant form. So whenever we say Shantakaraha Gachati, it resembles, or it actually gives the information that Vishnu is going. So this we call it as Anya Padartha Pradhana. Just do not worry if you're not able to understand this concept at the moment. So just for the Shravana Samskara, I'm telling about the Samasa and how do we understand which Samasa it is. If at all, this entire word here, Shantakara, is referring to an altogether a different person or an object than only the words present in the Samasta Pada, then it is called Anya Padartha Pradhana. And wherever it is Anya Padartha Pradhana, it is Bahurihi Samasa. Just understand it. And here in all of these words, all the adjectives that we are seeing now is all Bahuvrihi compounds only, because it is referring to Vishnu, who is like this, etc. Okay, we'll see a few more. Bhujaga Shayanam, Bhujagaha Shayanam Yasya Saha. Here also, for whom the snake itself is a bed. Bhujaga Shayanam, for whom the snake itself is like a bed, is again Bahurihi compound, which is again referring to Vishnu, is the Anya Padartha Pradhana. Padmanabham, here again the same concept. Padmam Nabhau, Yasya Saha. Yasya Nabhau. So again, if you want to make an Anvaya of this Vigraha Vakya also, it's simpler. Yasya Nabhau Padmam Vartate Saha Vishnuhu Padmanabhaha. Tam, whenever we make it tam, then it becomes Dvitiya Bhakti. So that's why this tam is added towards the end of every statement here, just to indicate it is in Dvitiya Bhakti. Okay. So next, Suresham. Here, Sureshaha ityanena Suranam Ishaha, one who is the Lord of all the gods. So of the gods is coming Suranam Ishaha. Here, Sureshaha Gachati, if you say Sureshaha Ishaha Gachati is what will be the final understanding. The Lord is going. Again, it is referring to Vishnu, no doubt. But Sureshaha directly specifies it is Vishnu and not through any other Anya Padartha Pradhana. So here it becomes Tatpurusha Samasa. And if you just pay a little more attention and we use the same logic, Sureshaha Gachati, Suranam Ishaha Gachati, take the Vigraha Vakya and say, whether Suras are going or the Lord of the Suras are going, Lord is going. Ishaha Gachati is the conclusion that we can arrive at. So here, Sura, Isha, these are the two words. The second word is prominent. And hence we call it as Tatpurusha Samasa, where Uttara Padartha Pradhanaha. The Uttara Pada, the second word is prominent. Astu, just leave with that concept for now. Do not worry if you haven't understood more about the details about the Samasa at the moment. Astu, Vishwadharam, Vishwasya Adharaha, one who is the support or one who is maintaining the entire Vishwa. So Sthiti Karakam. So he is Vishnu. Similarly, Gagana Sarusham, Gaganena Satushaha. Again here, it is one who is resembling to the Gagana. Here again it will be Tatpurusha Samasa. Megha Varanam, Meghasya Varanaha, Iva Varanaha, Yasya Saha. One who is having a Varna like, Varna is basically the color like that of a cloud, is Vishnu again here in this case. Shubhangam, Yasya angani shubhani. So shubhani angani yasya saha tam bahuvrihi. Lakshmi kantam lakshmyaha kantaha. Here it is again directly the Shashti Tatpurusha Samasa. Similar to Sita patihi, Sitayaha patihi, Sita patihi. Or Parvati shaha, Parvatyaha ishaha. Similarly, Vagishaha, Vacham ishaha, etc. These are the other examples of Shashti Tatpurusha. Kamala Nayanam, one who is having the eyes like that of a lotus. So Kamala Nayanam, Kamale iva Nayane yasya saha. So there's a beautiful story why Vishnu got the name Kamala Nayana. One incident is he was doing a penance on Shiva and he wanted to do the archana of Shiva through Sahasranama through lotus, basically. By using the lotus, he wanted to do the archana. What happened? Vishnu went and selected the best of the lotuses. He collected 1,000 lotuses and came and was doing the tapas or the japa for on Shiva. And Shiva wanted to see what will Vishnu do if one lotus is less from the 1,000. So he will basically 2 lotuses he will just take it out. That was a maya just to see what will happen. And then after the 998 nama, Vishnu was not left out with any other lotus. Then he thought, people call me Kamala Nayana, so let me offer my own eyes to Shiva. So this is just an anecdote, not sure of the source from where it comes, but that's how then he became also famous as Kamala Nayana. Was what was mentioned in one of the anecdotes. Astu agre saramaha yogibhihi. By the yogis, basically yogin is an akaranta pullinga shabda which we have already discussed. Dhyana gamyam, dhyanena gamyaha. Again here it is Tritiya Tatpurusha Samasaha. So by now you might have been wondering, Tatpurusha Samasa, we saw Shashti Tatpurusha, now we are seeing also Tritiya Tatpurusha, we also saw it earlier. How do we arrive with this first part of the name, whether it is Tritiya, Chaturthi, etc.? In the Vigraha Vakya, if you see, Dhyanena Gamyaha is there, which is Tritiya Vibhakti Pada. And hence this Samasa is called Tritiya Tatpurusha. The other way, Shashti Tatpurusha is because Lakshmyaha Kantaha. There it becomes Shashti Vibhakti, and hence it is Shashti Tatpurusha. That is one more level of understanding. Astu. So Bhava Bhayaharam, it is done in 2 ways. That is because Bhava Bhaya Hara, there are 3 shabdas that we can see here. So the first one is Bhavat Bhayam. So you are afraid of the world, basically, or from the world. So basically it is whenever we use bhi, bhaya, etc., these words, it is a vyakarna niyama to use the panchami related word, panchamyanta shabda, and hence here it becomes the panchami tatpurusha samasaha, if you see. And then bhava bhayasya haraha, one who is the remover of the bhava bhayasya haraha, here it becomes shashti tatpurushaha. So hope now it is clear why we call this with this name of which vibhakti and how the samasa name comes. Okay, and the last one, sarvalokaikanatham, sarve lokaha, sarvalokaha. Again, here it is a specific kind of tatpurusha. We'll just live with it with karmadharya, where you can see a visheshana bhava. Sarvalokaha is sarve lokaha, sarvalokaha. Visheshana visheshya bhava is there. Then ekaha nathaha, ekanathaha is also like one master. So that's also ekanathaha, karmadharyaha. Sarva lokanam ekanathaha, one who is the master of all the lokas is again Shashti Tatpurushaha. So directly coming on Sarva Lokaikanatham. So with that, we will probably stop in today's class. I'll just open up for question and answers if you have any specific questions to the second shloka that we have seen in any of the Pada Padartha, Anvaya or Bhavartha. You may please raise your hands and I will answer a few questions and then we will conclude today's class. Okay, JK Mahoday, you can ask your question.
Namaste Mahodaya.
Namaste.
Bhujagashayya, atra Bhujagah Shayya yasya saha उचितं वा अथवा भुजगेन शयनं
Bhujagena it will not be. Bhujagaha eva shayanam yasya. So the snake or the Adishesha itself is a bed for whom. So that's how the Anvaya or the Samasa we will have to understand.
अत्र शयनं वा शय्या वा शय्या इत्युक्ते
Shayanam. Here Shayya is also bed. Shayanam is also bed. Shayanam means also to sleep. All these words have a similar meaning in that way.
अस्तु महोदय धन्यवादः
Sure. धन्यवादाः. Okay, Bhuvaneshwari Bhagini.
Ram Ram Ram. How
Ram
to
Ram.
differentiate a sandhi word and a samasya and samasa?
Okay, very good question. How to understand whether it's a sandhi or a samasa? For that, what we can see is in any of these words, whenever you do a padacheda, okay, whenever you do a padacheda, if the independent words are already a case ending or not, if it is a vibhaktiyanta shabda, that means to say, maybe here, yogi bhir dhyana gamyam, we will consider this word where we are doing the sandhicheda. When we split it, it becomes yogi bhihi dhyana gamyam. Yogi bhihi is already a vibhaktiyanta shabda, which is Tritiya bhaktihi bahuvachanam. Yogi bhihi independently exists and can be used. Dhyana gamyam is also independently existing and can be used. Now, if we consider Shanta Akaram, when we split the Sandhi here, like Shanta Akaram, Shanta is not a Vibhaktiyanta Shabda. Though you may say it can be probably considered as Sambodhana Prathama Bhakti. That is possible, but here that is not the context. So, Sandhi is happening between two independent words, then it is called a Sandhi. Sandhi Cheda we do and Padacheda we do. When constituent words come together and together they are forming like a pratipadika and a vibhaktiyanta shabda is seen, like shantakaram, shantakaraha, shantakaro, shantakaraha, shantakaram, then that compound that is what is will be the samasa. So with practice you'll be able to identify most of the shlokas. If you read also, you will be able to get that in that format. So in coming classes also we'll be discussing further about it, and hope it answered to a certain extent in today's class, and you will be also learning it better in the upcoming classes. Okay, so we'll go with the last question for today because we have already reached the time. Lalita Bhagini, you can unmute yourself now and ask your question.
Namo Namah Mahoday.
Namaste.
There is, I have a doubt in that Lakshmi Kantaha. Is
Huh.
it Tatpurusha? Can we make it Bahuvri also? Lakshmiyaha Kantaha. Yaha
So here when we say Lakshmi Kantaha, it will be a Tatpurusha only because Lakshmiyaha Kantaha, which is coming directly. Lakshmiyaha Kantaha only. So so if you want to say, we cannot make a Bahuvrihi from this because the samasas are always based on what artha that we want to give. So vivaksha, whatever is the vivaksha, based on that, the compound will be also formed. So in this particular case, Bahuvrihi is probably not possible. So in various other cases, that is still possible. But yeah.
I got a doubt was, you were saying, suppose you take Kantaha Gachati, Lakshmi, it is not okay. You need another person to tell.
No. It is
Not
still
like
it is still possible here. If you say Lakshmiyaha Kantaha Gachati, Kantaha Gachati only. Husband is going. Whose husband? It is Lakshmi's husband. That's what this compound is actually giving the meaning.
Yes, understood. Thank
Sure.
you.
Dhanyawadaha. So we shall conclude at this point today. If there are any further questions, we will take it up on Friday. If not, you can also please drop an email and we'll be able to answer them. The course pages are all being updated, and so you can refer to them. धन्यवादाः सर्वेभ्यः. पुनः शुक्रवासरे मिलामः. राम राम राम.